And we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to A Bookish Moment. I'm Sarah Burr.
And I am JC Kenney. Happy Wine Wednesday, folks. Sarah, I am so excited. We have a really unique and timely guest with us today. Can't wait to get the conversation started. So I think it's time to get bookish.
Yes, indeed. And talk about timely. You're so right. And what's very cool is that our guest, Violet Rose, and I actually connected at a local authors event that was held here on Long Island in the town of Babylon. And it was really great to hear Violet's presentation and just the really amazing and beautiful way that Violet, you look at the world. So I'm really excited to talk about your book, Color Your Energy, with our audience members. I think a lot of people are going to be very interested and it's going to resonate with folks. So we can't wait to get started. I want to say hello to our folks that are chiming in already in the chat. We've got Farmhouse Reader, we've got Mizan, and we've got Jenna. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Violet, why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe what you may have been doing before you began writing and kind of what started this journey that you're on.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I experienced so many profound life experiences over these past number of years, which really led me to write this book. Outside of the book, I work in healthcare. I've been doing this for almost 15 years. And so really my love of nature and spirituality, and coupled with these experiences that I had, took me on this journey to write this self-empowerment guide.
That's amazing.
And you go ahead, Sarah. Ladies first.
Oh no, I think we were going to ask the same thing, JC, because I'm curious. The Color Your Energy is a guide, and I'm hoping that you can kind of maybe explain for our audience members what you are guiding them to, and kind of the format that you do it in, because what I think that how the book is written, Violet, you pair color with these beautiful affirmations as well as these journal prompts, and I'm wondering just like how did that all come together, and kind of what drove you to deliver this medium to readers?
Sure. So this is a self-exploration guide to help you self-empower. And like I mentioned, I had gone through so many profound experiences that led me to write this book. Back in 2019, I was going through a bit of a transformation with my career. I had been working in healthcare and I was transitioning into teaching yoga. And through that, it led me to a personal and a spiritual growth. And at that time, my father became sick and he was actively dying. Subsequently, he passes away a few months later. And I was going through my own challenges in my family and soon to be divorced, a divorced single mom of 2 boys. And so through these creative endeavors, through painting and photography, writing, affirmations, the ethereal, the chakras, they all helped me heal and gain a lot of perspective about my life. And it really shifted my forward trajectory. So.
That is, well, first off, I'm so sorry that you have been through so many challenging times. I mean, granted, we all eventually are going to get there, but that's still rough. So thank you for being here and sharing that with us, because sometimes that can be tough to talk about. So I would like to dive in a little bit more into Color Your Energy. The way you have set this, I really think of it as a really practical tool to help us all kind of, I try to practice mindfulness, but I often forget to. But it's a great tool, I think, to just help folks kind of relax, catch our breaths, and things like that. And you do it almost in like a step by step basis, because you mentioned imagery, you mentioned journal prompts, and then you have mentioned affirmation statements. Could you talk about a little bit about how you set the book up, and kind of what you want folks, how you, through the way you set the book up, how do you hope folks are able to use it?
Sure. So I had set this book up in the way that it involved concepts about life's challenges, grief, loss, death, transitions like divorce, coupled with these elements of the chakras, color, nature, the writing, the affirmations, painting, photography. But I wanted to write it in a way that it was speaking to the reader and not just me saying, on this day I experienced divorce or I experienced the grief and loss of my father. It was me behind the scenes experiencing these things. And then through this creativity, um, kind of creating this as the tool to help myself heal and grow and gain perspective and find joy and meaning in my life. And so that's really what I wanted to convey to the reader, is that you can do that too, but also in a subjective way, because everybody's experience with those things is going to be a little bit different.
So I have a question about, well, I have two questions. One, the images that you provide in the book, are those ones that you have, are those photographs you've taken yourself? Are they ones that you've found out in the world that have moved you? Where are you pulling those images from?
So the nature photographs are original ones that I've taken myself,
Mm-hmm.
and so are the paintings.
Oh,
They're all
wow.
original artwork. Yeah. So through a lot of the paintings, colors in nature are in there, the chakra colors. And so I wanted to really incorporate that as part of the book in the way that it's set up with, the image and then the excerpts and the journal prompt and the affirmation. It's kind of like a blend. It's an eclectic blend that I wanted to make all together, almost like a way to soothe also too. That in itself could be healing. The pictures of nature that seem serene, or the paintings in the colors in the paintings that could, you look at it and it just makes you feel a certain way. I wanted to also evoke that, in the reader, as part of just the whole process of what's in the book.
Wow. That so as I was going through and reading the affirmations, reading the journal prompts, and then I would kind of start by always looking at the image and say, what does this image bring forth in me? Then I would read the prompts and the affirmation, and then I would begin to see the image a little bit differently, because there was one that stood out that was like a red, it was a red painting, a red canvas. And to me, red has always been a color that maybe is sometimes negative, or it's forceful, or it's you know it's overpowering, or something along the line. I always think of rage when I think red. But the affirmation that you had tied with it was all about being confident and being powerful and kind of having your voice. And I was like, wow, like that really made me see red in a different way, in a more positive light, and not be kind of like burdened by such negative connotations. And I was just like, how did you, was it just something that inherently came to you as you were doing these? I guess maybe, is it first what came first, the painting or the affirmation? Or was it something that happened synonymously?
I think it happened all together. The chakras are weaved in, so it's all those colors, and the red is like a powerful color of the root chakra.
Mm-hmm.
It's our foundation, and it's what helps us find center, grounding, especially in these times and through challenges that we all go through, finding that, place or space that makes us kind of return to ourselves and find that inner peace. That was really important for me to convey through the colors, through the paintings or the photographs throughout the book. Um, when I was editing the book, I kept going through the photos and like switching things, and um, but it just all came together in that way. So it all worked out.
It did. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, and I just want to say, kind of to dovetail off of what Sarah was saying, I found the affirmation statements really powerful. I really latched onto the one, and it's kind of early. That talks about the fact that you matter, speak up and be heard, and how so often I think in our lives, we don't want to make waves, we want to get along, and so maybe there are times when I hate using the term subjugate, but we kind of, force ourselves unintentionally to step back. And I just found that mantra was a good one to remind, me in particular, that it's like, what, it's okay to speak up. It's like Sarah, like you were talking about with Red. It's like, just because I'm speaking up doesn't mean I'm being a bully or trying to control a conversation. Now I'm rambling right now, and I apologize for that. But, I just I just want to say thank you for those. And so for like the affirmation statements, are those all original out of your head, or did you draw those from different sources, or how did you come up with them? Because like I said, they're very simple, but at the same time, they are very powerful.
So I came up with everything originally. After the journal prompts, I thought of affirmations that, people could practice. But it also ties into the chakras. Like I believe that one was the throat chakra. So it's about communication and speaking your truth. Um, so I weave that in. And in some of the affirmations, there's the may I in front of it too. I don't know if you noticed that through some of them, not all of them. I wanted to also put that in there too, to kind of allow the reader to explore the affirmations more. Because, saying affirmations to yourself isn't like the easiest thing, right? We're saying it, but is there meaning behind it? Do we actually believe it? So in that may I, it kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room to explore it for yourself. Say it. How does it feel? Maybe that's another journal prompt that you can do. And just kind of connect to it.
That's amazing. And just to let you know, Violet, we have Jenna saying the book is great and the images are incredible. So we have feedback from our audience members. I will say the affirmations are very, very moving. There is one that I actually wrote down that and it was funny. I was interested in what JC you would pull from your reading and if it would differ from what mine was. And the affirmation that really stood out to me the most was, there is a flame, a light, it never goes out, it dwells within my heart center eternally. And I've been someone who has kind of been struggling recently with having hope for positivity and that tomorrow will be better, or all of these types of things. And that one just, it really turned in for me, that I have to be that light. I have to carry that light, and I have to nurture it and keep it moving forward. I can't give in to despair. I can't give in to losing hope. And it was just it was so incredibly moving. And we have actually a question from our audience member, Farmhouse Reader. Where is the book available so that they can grab a copy?
So it's available on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles. Yeah, you could go right on Amazon, or if you go to my website, you can order it from there. It just takes you to the Amazon page.
Perfect.
It's coloryourenergyllc.com.
Excellent. And we actually have that link in our show notes, Farmhouse Reader, so you can pull that information right from the description that's underneath the video. So yes, so the power that we have within these affirmations, but I would love to talk a little bit about the journaling themselves, because I am someone who, I've always wanted to be someone who keeps a journal, but I'm so terrible at keeping after it. What advice do you have for someone like me that's when do I find the time? How do I carve out the time? What are some tips for making journaling easier?
I would say set small goals with it. Doing it every day could be a lot. Maybe it's just a once a week thing to start. Allow it to guide you. You could even go through the book and kind of tune into what you feel drawn to. If something seems exploratory to you, go with that. That's your journal prompt for the week. Um, Allow it to resonate, and maybe it's something you kind of carry over in your own thoughts and in your own heart and for the week.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good idea because I always feel the pressure to have it every day, but no, like having those moments, they can, you can kind of start your week off on a good note. We have Mizan saying that they are requesting it from their library, which is fabulous. And also that Mizan also struggles with journaling like I do. So those were really good tips, Violet. Thank you.
And so that's kind of one of the things that I kind of want to touch on now, Violet, is that the book is not a long book. And so I think it's easy to think that when we're talking about affirmations, journaling, to your point, it's easy for us to think this is something I need to do every day, and this is okay. I'm going to turn the page and now I'm going to read the next one. I'm getting the sense from you that color your energy, that's not the intent, that this isn't necessarily need to be something that's structured. Can you talk about how you envision folks using this? Because really it's an interactive thing. I mean, sure, we're reading, but we're also absorbing, we're thinking, for those of us who are going to be doing the journaling, we're going to be doing that. So kind of how do you envision folks getting the most out of it, I guess?
Yeah, definitely take small steps with it. There's a lot in here, there's a lot of color and content, and it could be heavy, based on those concepts of the grief, death, loss, life's challenges and transitions. So it can be a lot to sit with. So, like Sarah mentioned, I would start with, maybe one excerpt to start your week off. Allow the book to guide you. You can also use your own intuition. If you're looking at it from like a starting point from the chakras, you can always start with that book image one because that's the root and that's going to set your foundation, the red. Um, Maybe that's a starting point because that's like will really be your anchor. It asks you, what is your center of gravity? How do you root or find your center in like the midst of chaos or whatever's going on? That's really, really, that's an essential tool, that we all need. Um, so that could be something too. Start with the root chakra.
I would love to hear more about the chakras themselves, but first I want to point out Jenna saying that she loves to journal, and this book has been a great guide to journaling and to reflect on the artwork and the photos. So more good. So I'm curious, Violet, if how did you choose chakras to be kind of that central point of guidance for you? I guess where and maybe this is talking more about a spirituality aspect of it. How did that become your guiding light?
Yeah, the spirituality piece is hugely weaved throughout the book, and it's a huge piece of who I am. The chakras were, they're powerful energy centers in our body. For me, they really helped me heal, grow, and unlock my own creativity. So they're really powerful tools that we can all use and tap into in our day to day, just to strengthen ourselves, to balance ourselves, to heal whatever we need to heal, um, to root and ground ourselves through whatever is going on in our lives and in the world. So I think it was a really important element that I weaved in. That's kind of where the color comes from, all that
Hmm.
color. It's the chakras.
And
One of the things that I want to ask you though is that we have you have talked about a lot about this, how it can help us really, for lack of a better term, cope with the tough times. But it also strikes me as a way to help celebrate when you're feeling good. Could you maybe talk about that a little bit too?
Sure. I know there's a number of excerpts in the book that talk about getting out in nature. It's like nature is this blank canvas for you. What do you see out there? How do you feel? Um, it could be that you use to connect to yourself, or maybe you just feel really good going out on a nature walk or going to the beach. So you can use this book in good moments too, and in moments that are challenging. Um, and it also asks you to reflect on your accomplishments and how far you've come, and that could mean so many different things for so many of us. Um, so I think that's really in a nutshell how that could do that.
I like the focus on nature, and that reminds me, we had Maureen Wise on our show, and she was doing affirmations for hikers when they were out in nature. And it's I think we often forget that, like, we have this beautiful world around us. We're so focused on ourselves and the things that we are trying to get done, or we're trying to accomplish, that we really forget that there's beauty all around us. I would love to know that, and I know that you had mentioned this when you were presenting at the Babylon Library, Violet, that you're looking to kind of take this even kind of beyond your book publication. What other things are you working on in this kind of Color Your Energy brand universe that you are hoping to share with the public?
Yeah, so before I had the book published, I decided to start a business, Color Your Energy, because I really believed in these ideas as empowering tools for the collective, for everybody. And I recently started a program to help women who, they're coping with grief or loss, or feel unfulfilled, or lack direction in their life. And I help them find meaning and joy. So we're working to unlock creativity and really find that joy in life, after experiencing whatever challenge that they have been through themselves. I know this because I went through so many challenges myself, and I was able to find meaning and joy in my life. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what my goal is to work with other women and help them find that in their life.
Is that something that you're doing locally, or is that something that you have, like, opened up to, like, doing through, like, digital platforms, or how are those sessions being held?
So they'll be over Zoom.
Oh,
My
okay, nice.
website's currently under construction. I've been getting on my web guy. It's going to be up there hopefully within the next week or so. More
Nice.
about that program. It's called Your Radiant Path, and it's a really supportive program. We work on different things, again, depending on what's going on in your life, and there's healing, growth, transformation, and direction and meaning in your life that we're gonna find.
Awesome.
This is so empowering and so encouraging, Violet. I want to thank you again for sharing your gift with us. I want to ask, because you mentioned before the show started that you were also involved in yoga. How do you think that, to me, it strikes that yoga and Color Your Energy are completely dovetail perfectly, into with each other. But could you talk about maybe how you see, for folks who might be interested in yoga, how that can kind of work hand in hand with your goals of Color Your Energy?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm a lover of yoga. Um, an important aspect of yoga is, connecting to yourself, and it's also this oneness of us and the universe to all that is. So I think that's a really important aspect of just the business, the brand, the book. I think that these concepts are like weaved in. Obviously it's not like yoga in a physical movement. It's more of like the mindfulness, also the self-care, the self-love, the self-talk. The self-talk is in the book. I know there's an excerpt towards the end about, giving ourselves that kind self-talk. That can be considered like a yogic practice in our day-to-day.
I can just imagine. I don't know if you're familiar, if any of our viewers are familiar with the Calm app. I use it all the time for sleeping. because of the meditations that like help me turn off my brain and drift off into sleep. I could just picture something like this of doing a yoga session that is kind of guided by one of your affirmations, and just kind of visualizing the color that you have paired with that affirmation, and that being like a really like cleansing experience. So it's
in the program that I created, I create yoga sequences and meditations from the book, involving color and the chakras, affirmation. So that's all also weaved in, to this program that I recently developed. So
awesome.
So you were onto something there.
Excellent. Awesome. We have Mizan chiming in saying that she used to do yoga but hasn't in a while. We have David, who is from the Seacoast, New Hampshire area, saying that physical training also can help kind of facilitate that, helping achieve that peace. Mizan Calm is great. I use the insight timer for meditation. That's a good one. And then Jenna says, I think this book would be so therapeutic with yoga. Doing some yoga classes. I've done journaling in yoga classes. Oh yeah, that's like a really nice, like, it just seems like such a restorative and restful way to approach not only physical health for your body, but physical health for your mind. And we said before we went live, Violet, that time would fly. We've only got a couple minutes left of our moment together. I have two questions for you, one for thought and one to kind of put you on the spot with. If there is a affirmation that you have that you would like to share with our audience members, we'd love to hear one read that you have selected out. But also, when do you have this? Do you have any recommendations for folks who are interested in learning more about the chakras themselves, for people who may not be familiar with the different chakras or how to like find or feel their chakra? Do you have any resources either on your website, or do you have like suggested literature that might be helpful for folks looking for guidance?
Sure. Great questions. There's with the chakras, there's actually a chakra yoga book, and I'm trying to think of the author. It's Anodea Judith, that talks about all of the chakras, the energy centers, and yoga. So it's like it's a pairing of the two. So that's a
nice.
really good resource that they could look into. I have a blog post on my website. It's a short blog post about, what are the chakras, quick facts about them. So that's something that they can also check out. And my affirmation is actually from book image 3. It's our solar plexus chakra. It's our seat of confidence and self-esteem. And it says, may I fully recognize and accept the true power and strength that lies within me. So I'm feeling into that one for everybody.
I agree. That's a good one. There are just so many of them that were like, for me, it just felt like somebody was like kind of giving me like just like a friendly pat on the shoulder, like you can do this, like you can, like you're okay, you can keep moving forward. They were really beautiful. They were really very powerful.
I'm glad to hear that. In my health coaching, in my healthcare career, I do health coaching. So I see a lot of that voice in the book too, in regards to what you're talking about. It's kind of like cheering you on along the way.
Yes.
So in like a gentle way, you're doing it at your own pace. So
I think that that's what we need. And we have Jenna saying that she's sharing this book with her yoga teacher, loves incorporating journaling into yoga classes. And Farmhouse Reader says, I think this book would be great for gift giving. So I think that definitely has resonated with our wonderful audience members today, Violet. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. It's really, again, it's not a threatening size book. It's very like you look at it and you're like, you don't feel overwhelmed going into it. But once you start kind of reflecting and working, it's like, oh wow, there's so much there. So thank you so much for coming on our show and sharing that with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And for
Yeah,
our
I just want to echo what Sarah said. This is something I think everybody, even if for those people who want to say I'm not into the yoga woo woo kind of stuff, this is just take some time to take a breath and reflect. And you have done this and provided us with something that's just beautiful and simple and accessible. And I just, like Sarah said, thank you so much for sharing this gift and your time with us.
Thank you.
And you've already mentioned all of the great resources that are on your website, Violet. Are there, do you have any like in-person events or virtual events that you have coming up that you'd like to share, or a newsletter perhaps that you use to keep in touch with your followers?
Yeah, actually on my website, I have a shop where there's also affirmation oracle cards and some of the canvas paintings you can get. You can sign up for newsletters through the contact form. I'm going to be posting more about that program. I'm on it now, and I'm actually doing a live event in New York on Sunday at
Oh,
Fire
fun.
Island Vines in Bayshore. It's a holistic wellness event. I'll be there with my table and my books, and anyone that's in the area can come say hi.
Oh, fabulous. I love hearing things that are happening on Long Island, so that's great. And again, thank you so much for sharing your time with us this afternoon, for sharing these wonderful messages that are uplifting and empowering and just very thoughtful. It was a very poignant and calming read. So that was just a delight. And thank you so much to our wonderful audience members who joined us here live this afternoon. We always appreciate you, your questions, and your comments. If you have any other comments for us, feel free to leave them after the episode. We do have a episode of The Bookish Hour airing tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be joined by Matt Cost, who is a mystery writer writing the Mainly Mysteries, which take place in my home state of Maine. So it'll be exciting to talk about Down East with Matt as our guest. So we hope to see you there. And again, folks, make sure to head to our show notes to get the link to Violet's website, coloryourenergyllc.com. And thank you once again, everyone, for being here. Wishing you a happy rest of your day. And until we all meet again, stay bookish. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great afternoon.